Hey everyone, it's Nicole Moss, co-founder of Moss Consulting HR Services, and you're a host of Easton Park TV. I'm here with the Spiezia family, who is also Ellysium Racing, one and the same. Ellis and I had a chance to just talk, the two of us. We talked about racing, cars catching on fire, all the fun things, so we'll jump right into it.
So, why don't we start with kart racing and then maybe go into indoor kart racing?
Yeah, I mean, kart racing is kind of like the grassroots of motorsport. It's where anytime you ask anybody, what should I do as step one, go-karts. Every time, that's the answer. And so looking at that, there's obviously different levels. You have some of the stuff I did over in Europe, being the European and World Championship. That's like as, intense as karting motorsport gets. Their World Championship 400-something drivers under the same tent, all competing on one weekend. Like, that's the, top tier stuff. And then where I started my career was in indoor rental karts. So K1 Speed, that's about 20 minutes from here. Coda Karting has their rentals. That's pretty much if you have $30 and are tall enough to reach the pedals, you can jump in and go play racing driver. And they have their own little competitive leagues that I'm still a firm believer in is like the best way to have cheap, fun motorsport experience. And so it's obviously not as fast. The tracks aren't as big.
Yeah.
But, still a bunch of people putting on helmets, getting on a grid, and going out there and racing each other.
We used to go watch his buddy, the kid that would race for him, and they were super cool and very into it. Had the traveling garage and the whole thing. And it was surprising how these were young kids, very young kids, and they would go so fast.
Yeah, I think top I ever hit in a go-kart was about 80.
That is so fast.
Even the young kids now,
the kids these days,
7 to 10, they're still hitting close to 50. So
that's so fast.
It's fast. And I think honestly, go-karts are still, at least for me, some of the scariest things to drive.
Why?
Because there's no safety.
None.
When I'm in a race car, got harness, you have, the halo seat now comes all the way up beside your head. Hans device is protecting my neck, fireproof everything. In a go-kart, it's like
you in the world.
Put you on the floor with a couple explosions powering your go-kart next to you.
No big deal.
In a tiny little motor. So it's definitely the most extreme side of racing that I still think is the most dangerous.
Okay, that's crazy. You should just put your 8-year-old kid in a situation. No problem. They'll
learn quick.
Be fine. Yeah, they're kids are rubber at that age, so they're probably fine. So you went from karting, and it's karting with a K, right? It's a very specific situation.
Yeah. They're so specific.
Yeah.
I've had to autocorrect a couple times on some TikToks.
Yeah.
And everyone's just, it's with a K. So yes, karting with a K
okay.
is where it's at.
Okay, and that's the start. And then you've moved into this EV world, and you're very passionate about this on multiple levels. So just walk me through, maybe talk about how you got into EV racing and then why it's so important to you.
It sort of started as necessity. It was one of those that a lot of the EV series it's called a spec series. So they provide the cars that are all the same. You show up with a helmet, race suit, and you go out there. So as opposed to some of the combustion series where it's multiple teams and each team's a little bit different and they also cost a little bit, different.
Yeah.
It started as that, and then I started getting these opportunities to help develop these race cars, sort of almost, as a test and development driver at 15, 16.
Cool.
So the work experience that came from that is just, you don't get that anywhere else. And so after that, it sort of became it used to be we were doing all EV stuff.
Okay.
Now we're at a bit of I'd say a 60-40 split back in America. We're still working with a lot of the electric racing stuff that we've built up over the past few years. But we're still doing some combustion racing just because it's not as popular, the EV stuff here in the States.
Yeah.
And I still need practice. And when it comes to accessibility, finding cheap race cars to go drive is a whole lot easier.
Yeah. So we have an electric car. And Steve and I joke that they just give those cars to anyone. I should not, they should have trained me. They're so fast.
Yeah, I have my own personal feelings on affordable horsepower as an overarching thing.
Because it's a thing.
And America's very especially in our sort of ecosystem when it comes to cars that, even an 18-year-old kid can go out and buy one of the top spec'd out Mustangs and have 600-700 horsepower. My metric is I say if you aren't professionally trained, if you're not a professional driver, anything over 300 horsepower is more than enough to get you into plenty of trouble. And so when you look at the EVs with how powerful they are, and how instant that power is delivered. I think it makes for some interesting moments for people to drive, and
Yeah.
I think everyone's become sort of desensitized to Teslas can have up to 1,000 horsepower.
It's crazy.
Even the base models, it's just all software at that point, so it gets a little nuts.
It really, like, we joke about it, but it's really not a joke. Like, they go so fast. Like, you want to be somewhere and then you're just like there, and it's not, at least for those of us who are older, like we grew up with an engine or a motor. I don't know. I don't know. What is it? Engine
I always use
is
motor.
The gas
Yeah,
car, right?
I'd say like engine is very gas specific.
Okay.
Motor kind of is overarching. That can
Okay.
either be, electric, gas,
Yeah.
hybrid,
Yeah, so like I grew up driving like a gas like engine car, and then now we're in this electric car that's like, I have no business going that fast ever. Like, it's just, or like that fast. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's like so fast. It's crazy. Let's go back a little bit to like passion, because you're like obviously very passionate about this. At what age were you like, I love going fast?
I mean, it's kind of just how I've been. I'm always someone that I was always very actively trying to push the limits of whatever I was doing.
Okay.
I used to be action sports kid growing up, like skateboard, BMX, surfing.
Okay.
Skateboard, how fast can I bomb this hill? Mountain biking, all right, what's the flowiest trail? How fast can I go? How far can I jump? And
Okay.
so I think that translated that I got in a car for the first time, or a go-kart, and I was like, oh, I can just continuously push this thing further and further and further. And then when I feel like I've gotten the maximum out of it, there's something faster, but it's still kind of the same thing, So I think that's been the difference of like when I would go on a BMX bike, the skill ceiling is the trick. So I used to do like park stuff on the ramps. I never
Okay.
did anything in the street. And so that's kind of, like half pipes and things like that. The
Yeah.
skill ceiling is more of, okay, well now can you do a backflip? Can you do a bar spin? Can you do a 360?
Okay.
Then you do a 720. And so that was kind of cool. But then when I found motorsport, it was like, okay, the skill ceiling is you just keep going faster and faster. And so that's, it's a little intoxicating. It's a little bit of a rabbit hole that pulls you in. But
Okay.
it's definitely been a skill set that I think suits me really well.
I love it. So you've raced on, or you've tested on a bunch of different platforms. So it looks like ERA Championship, Ford Fiesta, Nitrocross. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, my first real experience in a race car was with it's called Lucas Oil Race School.
Okay.
They're a racing school out of the USA, and they're race school cars. So in motorsport, those are kind of like, they're beaters, right?
Yeah.
All of them are a little quirky. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I had done a lot of stuff on the simulator, so ironically, I felt more comfortable in a car than a go-kart.
Okay.
Just from playing video games my whole life.
Got it.
But I didn't really have like I was in over my head a little bit to like properly learn how to push the car. I got great fundamentals out of it. But then after I did some of the karting stuff for a few years and then jumped back into the race cars, then I was ready to sort of, go head first. And so, ERA Championship, I helped develop that car. It was an electric formula car based out of Belgium.
Okay.
And was a blast to get to, pretty much be their testing driver for
Cool.
a solid year.
Yeah.
And that was my single-seater Formula car adventures. Formula cars are expensive. The ladder-wise, we did some combustion F4, which is kind of like the gas equivalent of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't really going anywhere. And after ERA didn't get off the ground for their season, we met this Belgian guy in a coffee shop named Bart. And we jumped into a Ford Fiesta, which is, ironically, I was really upset when I moved here because I was looking at getting the same model of Ford Fiesta I raced as my daily driver because it's an awesome car. It's a little 3-cylinder turbo, 2-door, like perfect. It's a European-only spec of the car. And so I was really disappointed. But I got to race it for a solid year and a half, and that was my first time, a 20-car grid all flying into turn one, pushing into each other and going 5 wide. It was a unique experience that I would say toughened me up the most. I was a kid. I was, 16 and racing against adults that like they've been doing this championship for years. And so had to learn real quick.
This might be a really dumb question, but you drive at 16, but like when you're racing, can you race cars younger than 16?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got my FIA license. I had SCCA. So SCCA is the sort of like the big American like organization for motorsport.
Okay.
I had a pro competition license with them when I was 14,
Okay.
15. And that's from completing the race schools.
Got
And
it.
then when it comes to the international licenses like I have now, as long as you compete in a certain amount of races in a car that's a certain speed, you can upgrade to the next one the year after.
Got you.
It's kind of just a way for them to ding you with more money each year to renew it.
Sure. Probably a little safety in there also.
Yeah, it's to make sure that,
Sure.
you're taking steps instead of jumping in and racing stuff that is
Yeah.
way above your pay grade. But then I would say when it came to the craziest on-track experiences, that was with Nitro Cross. And that
Okay.
was mixed surface. So Rallycross is half dirt, half road. So it's not like, when F1 goes to Coda, they're driving the same track the whole
Yeah.
weekend going around. For us, we had half of it was dirt. And so, you think about how messed up your lawn gets if you drove a dirt bike around. And the same
Right.
thing was happening there, that like the dirt's getting pushed and moved and the track's changing. And then all of a sudden you're taking 120-foot jumps every lap in a
Oh,
car that was kind of designed to do it, not really. And when you put that together, I think that was like the perfect combination of my background growing up, jumping BMX bikes,
Yeah.
skateboarding, surfing, like the extreme sports, to then bring it with a car was pretty insane.
I love that. It's so cool how like a lot of the like X sports are like these like kind of off-brand extreme sports like tie in together. It's very, very cool. So you do a lot. You're a very dynamic guy. So you're doing a lot with like VR, Web3. I don't even know what Web3 is. So you like explain that to me like I'm 5. Like tell me about just kind of like your engagement with your fans, technology, VR, all of that.
Yeah, so I mean, we're doing a lot of fan engagement stuff. Over the course of the season, we had a space in this thing called On Cyber, and that's
Mhm.
basically, using the metaverse as fan engagement,
'Kay.
which, we live streamed our races and people are in little avatars dancing, watching the screen.
Oh, cool.
It was a blast. And
Very
then the
cool.
evolution of that was when we started the Nitro Cross season, we put together a Roblox game for it that, kids in the stands, they'd scan a QR code on the live stream and all of a sudden on their phone, they're playing this game and they're driving the car that I'm racing out on track.
No way.
And so I solo developed that for about 4 months.
Okay.
Whole lot of ChatGPT, whole lot of late nights of not knowing how to code because that's not my bucket. But it was one of those that, it just sort of kept evolving. And now we're kind of working on, a little bit of like a version 1.5.
Okay.
That's going to be for this season for a lot of the education stuff that we're putting together. And it's just about, getting people in and doing stuff interactive rather
Yeah.
than just sitting on Instagram looking through our feed.
Yeah, it's really cool because I think there's a level of responsibility at a certain following, right? Where like, I guess you don't have to do it, but it's what a great impact to a lot of these kids that even if they're not ever going to be pro race car drivers, I'm sure some of them will aspire to be one, but to like really give back to the community that you're building, it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those like the more engagement we can get and the more interactive that engagement is, the better the fan base will be. So
Yeah.
when it comes to that, I mean, I've been having a blast getting to implement some of my knowledge into the games. And, we're live streaming on Twitch now so people can watch the development along with us.
Cool.
And it's not too bad.
That's awesome. It's very entrepreneurial of you to be like starting that and engaging in that creativity, not only like in what you're doing, but also in you're learning how to code and utilizing AI and ChatGPT, which I'm so surprised that some people are like, what's ChatGPT? Even still, I'm like,
I know.
how are you not like every day? I'm in ChatGPT. It's my best friend.
Yeah, I'm in Harbor Freight looking for something in an aisle and I'm asking it like, where do I go?
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. So like we talked about, and I saw it today on your video on your website, like sustainability. You're talking about like EV. You talked about hydrogen briefly. Like talk me through sustainability and why it's important to you and kind of where you think the sport's going with a more eco-friendly like purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of it was sort of something we found by proxy of being
Okay.
an electric motorsport,
Mhm.
and we kind of ran with it as, we have this platform, we might as well push a positive message along with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's led to some great partnerships. It's led to some great opportunities inside sort of bringing people that aren't in the motorsport space into it.
Mhm.
You don't get into motorsport to save the planet. It's not necessarily what people think of when they think,
Yeah.
climate friendly. But it's been fantastic. I mean, we've gotten to go to some really cool events, meet some really cool people. And, I think electric motorsport at the moment is, it's in a funky spot. So
Yeah.
it's got to sort itself out a little bit. But there's some stuff in the background that we're seeing people work on that's sort of going to be coming up in the next year or two that
Cool.
I think is going to be a huge step for it.
Yeah, it's just like anything takes time, and we move slow through progress and change sometimes. So Elysium is kind of addressing like this environmental impact, and you're the face of it, and you're really helping to lead that charge. So can you there's something about like Carbify. Tell me what that is, and like I'm 5. Like I don't know anything about it.
Carbify was kind of one of our first recurring partners. They were with
Okay.
us, especially we had a race in their home country in the Netherlands. They basically, whenever we would race gas, would offset that with carbon offset that was verified on the blockchain. So
Okay.
that basically meant that the whole thing with carbon offset is it's kind of a gray area. A lot of the big fuel companies and big companies in general, it's kind of one of those. They say they're doing it. They put a PDF out there saying, this is how much we offset. This is how much we did. We're 0. We're good. So Carbify basically took a step further and went and said, here it is. There's no, this is as transparent as you can get. It's on the blockchain, so it's one of those. It's not just something you can mess around with at will. Once it's there, it's there. And it was fantastic. I mean, they were doing some really, really cool work with us, and we got to go see some of their trees that they were planting down in Spain. So it was a lot of fun.
Very cool. Very cool. So who came up with putting broccoli in the cookies?
That was me and my mom when we were talking about education. That was kind of we need to figure out a way to mix in interactive things like Roblox and gaming while educating our fan base. And so it's been great. Teachers love it because it's not, just a bunch of statistics on a screen for 30 minutes.
Yep.
But they're still learning while having fun and messing around, and that's the key.
Love it. I think gamifying education is so powerful because everyone wants to play games, as long as you're learning while you're doing it. That's just so very, very awesome. And I think that probably comes from your mom's background in Montessori.
Oh, yeah. She was my teacher for 2 years. So
very cool.
Yeah, she kept me in check, especially when we were doing this sort of self-study thing.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, basically spending my entire time racing. So it was a good time.
Yeah, that's a good segue. I've been meaning to ask you, so how does school work while you're a famous race car driver?
I got a GED and a dream.
Okay.
That's kind of where we're at now. It's
Love it.
I mean, I graduated from middle school in COVID. So my 8th grade year was when COVID started.
Okay.
I didn't step foot in a high school ever.
Okay.
I pretty much did like a little bit of an online learning course, and then a few months after that, it was, all right, we're going to Germany. We're going to race cars.
Yeah.
And so when we went to Germany that second year, and we're going to stay pretty much for 9 months rather than 3, I was like, well, I need my GED to get a professional athlete visa. That's good for a few years.
Okay.
And so studied for 3 weeks, went and took it in New York City, came back, and then all of a sudden we're in Germany. And I'm,
cool.
Basically the whole point was I don't have to go to German school if I have a high school diploma.
Got it.
America's unique that we can take a 2-day test and it's equivalent to 4 years worth of high school to get said diploma. So the Germans weren't very happy with our little loophole, but it meant I got to go racing and got to skip out on an international school in the middle of Germany, which wouldn't have been that fun.
The Germans not being happy kind of just tracks, right?
Yes,
like that's
absolutely.
That's fair. We love the Germans, but that's awesome. So, and that is a good point that I think as we've moved through COVID that the mainstream school system is not for everyone. And I think you're a great example of you don't have to go through 4 years of high school. I mean, you should, all of those things, but in rare circumstances, you don't have to. And, pursuing the dream that's not the mainstream or the most I don't know, what we've been prescribed is normal it's okay. It's gonna be okay.
It's fun to go to schools and do speaking engagements at schools with students and tell them don't do what I did.
Yeah.
It's not a blueprint.
Yeah.
Throwing everything, just at the wall and heading to Germany to race cars and skip high school. There's some thinking, a little more, probably a little more thinking than we even did when we jumped into it.
Yeah.
But here we are. And I would say we're an extreme case of an alternate education path.
Yeah.
There's a gray area to work in between that.
Sure.
So yeah, and it's one of those that I think the pathway that we took through Motorsport, a lot of those series aren't even around anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not even we're kind of building the bridge while we walk across it, but it's also burning behind us. So There's a few stragglers that are still there, but it's definitely been, I wouldn't have had it any other way. The stuff I got to drive for those first 3 years that are now kind of archived, that aren't even around anymore, is experience that no one else will ever catch up with.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that it's important to note that like, you know, you have your parents as your team, which are really moving you forward. And that's also a very unique part of your story, is like having your kind of your family unit be such a big part of like your success moving forward is everything. And that's not what everybody has. So like you're saying, it's not the blueprint. You might be the exception to the rule, which happens rarely, but what a beautiful story. And it's so cool. You get to spend so much like quality and intentional time with your parents while
Yeah,
y'all are
exactly.
building something very cool that's impacting like the world in such a positive way. It's very, very beautiful. So technology and racing, electronic or like electric motorsports it's evolving very, very fast. What are you most excited about in the next, say, like, I don't know, currently and then in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think honestly, when it comes to looking at like the future, I would say we're going to see motorsport just kind of integrated in the larger scale stuff a lot more. So
Okay.
doing an event called Grid Life in July, and they're integrated with they're integrating motorsport with a music festival. And so I think stuff like that for electric motorsport with no noise is going to be super, super cool.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it's something that I think is the best way to drive new fans. So my hope is that in the next 5 years, we can see more of that, like the motorsport is a piece rather than the main event. And then as a driver, it's going to be super cool to be a part of these larger scale events happening
Mhm.
and being a sort of like, you know, kind of just a show that there's these cars on track racing and we're fighting for, you know, podiums and wins. And then there's live music and stuff like that. So I think that's my hope for the next 5 years. We do more of that.
That is I would have never thought about that, but it's quiet.
Yeah.
And so like you could be having like a music event or a speaking event while the race. That's so very cool.
It's quiet till the cars hit each other.
Sure. Oh, fair.
But, you know, for 80% of the time, it'll be nice and silent while other
that's
stuff happens.
so cool. That's so cool. So you're very hands-on in the development of like your online efforts and the development of your vehicles. What excites you the most about just like what you're working with as a whole?
I would say it's just getting to try new tech. I mean,
Okay.
it's brand new. Like, this is all stuff that's brand new that hasn't been tried and tested. So getting to be the guinea pig is a blast.
Mhm.
And I say watching it evolve even after I'm done doing my job.
Yeah.
It's super fun, and getting to see that stuff happen is super cool.
Awesome. So you caught on fire last week.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting career where on Thursday you're just hanging out do a chill drive to Dallas, eat some barbecue on the way, and
Okay.
go. And then on Friday you're in a race car that's turning into a fireball.
Okay. Yeah.
Motorcycle powered race car that the engine, basically the RPMs of the engine is how fast it's spinning. So it's revolutions per minute.
Okay.
Normal road cars go up to about 6,000 or 7,000 RPM. This engine does about 12,000 to 13,000. So it's about double what a normal road car does.
Okay.
And when you take these little pistons that are made of metal, and what we think happened is we lost oil pressure or something went wrong. And when you add a lot of friction to that metal and heat it up and make it weaker, those awesome pistons like to shoot through the block and fly out. And sometimes they hit a fuel line. And
Great.
all of a sudden you have spark and fuel, and we're up in a fireball cruising down the straight at 100 miles an hour. So best Ricky Bobby impression, pulled it in the pits, jump right out. They gave me the smallest fire extinguisher they had.
Okay.
Listen, as a kid, I've never gotten to use a fire extinguisher before.
This was your first time last Friday?
I didn't get to use it.
Oh.
Thankfully the fire team got to the car quick. Not so thankfully, I was looking forward to getting like the big red fire extinguisher. I got this like water bottle size, so like they have this giant hose, and I'm just over here in the corner. I'm ready though. But no, we saved the car, saved myself.
It's
The
most
suit
important.
doesn't have any burn marks on it.
Okay.
But it's a fun feeling to look in your mirror and all of a sudden it's just fireball.
That's one way to look at it. Fun feeling. I'm sure your folks might have had a different experience in that moment.
I'm just sad no one was filming outside the car. We have our onboard of me jumping out in the smoke cloud, but I would
That's
have
cool.
loved an onboard of the big boo.
So what in your mind when you realize have you ever been in a car that was on fire
No,
before?
first time.
Okay, so first time that your car's on fire and you realize it, like what's going through your head as a I mean, because I'm sure that you've trained for something like this.
Yeah, we every so often on a race weekend, especially with a new championship, you basically it's kind of like if you went to summer camp and had to do a swimming test
'Kay.
to get to go in the lake with all the cool
Mhm.
stuff.
Okay.
Basically, we have to go to the racing technicians, and the stewards, and we buckle into the car with everything on, and they say go, and you have to get out of the car within 5 seconds.
Okay.
And I think you have like 3 tries or something.
Okay.
It's basically to make sure that if you do catch on fire, you can get out in a timely manner safely.
Got it.
So I knew I knew I could get out nice and quick. It was mainly the peace of mind that I was actually pretty chill because when I saw the fire back there, I was still moving. And so I'm like, okay, as long as I'm moving, it's going to be pointed back that way.
Okay.
And the fire's going to be blowing back that way. So I rolled it to the pit lane, thankfully, which is where I was right on the front straight at the entrance. And the fire trucks were right there. And so I was like, all right, now we're going to stop, unbuckle the belts like a cat just kind of popped up. And then go out. It was pretty chill. I was just more disappointed that the car blew up because I was sad because I was having a fun time driving.
Got
so
it.
the first thought isn't self-preservation; it's sadness that your car just blew up.
Okay, and chill.
Yeah,
Chill was the word.
yeah. We're
okay.
just just a normal Friday.
Just a normal everyday Friday. It's interesting that you say that. So I liked skydive and I went to ground school during COVID, and they teach you how to like what happens in and it's like the shortest part of ground school is they're like, okay, in an emergency it'll happen 1 in 400 times, here's what you do. And I remember thinking like, why did we not spend 2 days on it? Like this seems so important. But anyway, I guess you just remember like in a survival situation.
It's one of those, it's just instincts. Like it's either you're cut out for it or you're not.
Yeah.
You'll find out real quick when you're on fire if you're cut out to be on fire.
Yeah, I guess if you're chill, you're cut out for
And
it.
I've done worse. I mean, I've crashed a few times and it's been much worse than, getting a little toasty in the cockpit. So it's one of those that the more experiences you have that build up, you're like, well, it's not going to be as bad as this.
Sure.
So we're okay.
Fair enough. So where did the name Renegade come from?
So it kind of came first as a nickname in go-karting that I was kind of driving everything that we would always come up somewhere, like whether it was a Mini Cooper, a Formula car, and it kind of just stuck as like we just drive everything. We jump into every race car we can, every type of racing event we can. And, it's not a bad nickname to have.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's kind of like racing nicknames go either way. It's also kind of like, how like call signs in the military go.
Yeah.
It's either one way. Either you do something stupid and you get a stupid nickname because you took some out or whatever. Like, or you get a cool one because, you're doing your thing and that. So lucked out with a cool one.
Love it.
And then it stuck with the brand and it's been great.
Cool. So one of your taglines is the risk of being first is. Tell me what that is.
Yeah, the rewards of being first far outweigh the risks.
Yeah,
and
so
that's kind of just jump in head first.
Yeah.
First mover's advantage gives you just a lot more visibility with some of the series of going in as basically, driver number 1 that's saying, let's give it a shot. Definitely has its moments that becomes a little questionable when things don't go right, but I think our strike record's been pretty good and proves that, just got to jump in and go for it.
I love it. I love it. So you're doing a lot, right? So you're 19, you're doing a whole lot. Which is it's very exciting just to like it's going to be really fun to watch what happens in the next like year, 5 years, 10 years with you. It's going to be really fun to follow. So how do you find balance with all of these initiatives that you're kind of pushing right now?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those like you just go. Like I sort my time. We split it up between the 3 of us, me and my mom and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I'm able to show up to a race event and make it happen, I'm a happy camper.
Cool.
And it's just something that we split up the work in our own ways. My mom is pretty much my general manager of the universe. My dad's heavy on the content side.
Cool.
And I just think it's something that I luck out that I found my passion really early.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where people look at my schedule and think I'm nuts. But it's something that I'm passionate about and I love every second of it.
Awesome.
There's a good movie, Lone Survivor, and one of the quotes in there is "Moderation's for cowards." So
Oh, I like that.
no moderation, just all in all the time. And it's working out because I'm getting to drive cool race cars, getting to go see some really cool places, and couldn't be happier.
I love that. So what's next for you at like Ellis, and then for the racing career and the company?
Yeah, I mean, the short term, like for this month, we're off. I'm off to Chicago on Friday.
Okay.
Going to do some content with NASCAR, which is going to be
Very
super
cool.
fun at one of their races. And then we did a magazine shoot with Regard Magazine. There's a launch party for that in California, and it looks like we're going to get to pull up in a very, very cool electric Porsche that I'm
Okay.
very excited about. And then as far as racing goes, we're at Grid Life in Wisconsin at Road America on July 25th to 27th. So that's that music festival combo. It's going to
Cool.
be a party. Going to find a new car that's not burned up from the test day.
Okay.
And so shout out to Rush of Central Texas for sorting out the little oopsie that we had down in Dallas at Crescent Motorsport Ranch. They're who we're running with in Wisconsin, and
Cool.
they're on it. So thank you to them for dealing with the very unfortunate exit of the engine of my race car. And then after that, we're looking at, in November, we're here racing at COTA in Trans Am. So
Cool.
big old 500 horsepower Mustang. It's going to be a blast.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, Ellis, thank you so much. This was a blast. I'm sure Easton Park is going to love to get to know you.
Yes.
You're pretty new in the neighborhood. Is that right?
Yeah, 4 months ago, 5
Yes.
months ago, we moved here.
You're going
so
to be so popular.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
It's going to be awesome. I'm sure that the neighborhood and the community is going to love like supporting you and watching. And there's so many kids, I'm sure, that are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so very cool. So Easton Park, follow Ellis, follow Renegade,
Yeah.
follow Elysium, all the things. And we will see you next time.